Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're peeling back the layers on one of the most persistent challenges in global trade.
A really frustrating one.
Yeah, exactly. This is this question. How do small businesses, producers in emerging markets, actually connect to global buyers? And not just connect, but do it in a way that's fair, that's verifiable, and that's fast.
Because right now, the process is anything but. It's usually slow, super expensive, and really just for the huge multinational players.
Right. So our mission for you today is to get a grip on how some advanced tech, specifically blockchain traceability, is acting as this powerful new connector.
Right.
It is trying to solve financial exclusion and that supply chain murkiness all at once.
And it's a massive problem of, disparity. The sources we looked at, they all point to this being the core issue zenGate Global wanted to solve when they started up back in 2022.
They saw a gap.
A huge digital transformation gap. You've got millions of what they call MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, mostly in places like the APAC region in Africa. And they're just completely marginalized because they don't have the digital tools or the connectivity or, frankly, the financial trust to play in the global market.
So they might be making these phenomenal products, right?
Mm.
Like specialized coffee or unique agricultural goods, but they're stuck. They're relying on all these costly middlemen and ancient systems that just eat up their profits.
And keeps them small. Exactly. So the goal isn't just about giving them an app. It's about giving them what the sources call a global edge.
A global edge. I like that.
It means affordable, enterprise-grade solutions. The kind of thing that lets them, leapfrog all those traditional banking and brokering hurdles that have locked them out for decades.
And their main tool for doing this, their flagship product, is the Palmyra Platform.
That's the engine. Palmyra is designed to power the next generation of global commodity exchanges. Think of it like a B2B marketplace, but one where trust and transparency are just baked into the code from the start.
Okay, let's unpack this then. A marketplace. That sounds pretty straightforward. But how does Palmyra actually change the mechanics of a big commodity deal?
It changes two fundamental things right away: how the product itself is identified and how the money moves.
Okay.
So first, Palmyra allows for the tokenization of certified commodities.
Tokenization. What does that mean in this context? We're not talking about crypto coins.
No, not at all. It just means taking a real physical asset, say a ton of tea or a container of pineapples, and giving it a unique, verifiable digital identity on a blockchain.
A digital passport, almost.
A perfect way to put it. And that digital token holds all the important data, its origin, its quality certificates, everything.
So it's more than just a product listing. It's a proven digital certificate
Yeah.
that handles the product. What about the money? Because, trust is everything when you're sending thousands of dollars across continents to someone you've never met.
And that is the absolute crux of it. This is where the embedded financial tools come in to reduce what they call counterparty risk. With Palmyra, all payments, the order value, taxes, logistics, everything, it has to be paid up front. But, and this is key, the money doesn't go straight to the seller.
Okay.
It uses an escrow system through a secure partner like MangoPay.
So tell me how that works practically. A buyer in, say, Germany wants pineapples from Benin.
Exactly. The German buyer's money goes into this secure escrow account. Think of it like a global buyer protection system, but for huge wholesale shipments.
Mm-hmm.
The funds are just held there safely until the terms of the sale are completely met.
And met means the goods have actually shipped and been delivered as promised.
Verifiably shipped and delivered. Only then does the system release the funds to the seller in Benin. This just wipes out the massive risk those producers normally face.
That lowers the barrier to entry for everyone, really.
Mm.
Now, this platform is for wholesalers, right? We're not talking about me buying a single bag of tea.
No, strictly B2B. It's built for buyers and sellers of wholesale or specialized commodities. There's a minimum order value of $1,000.
And it connects the whole ecosystem.
The whole thing, from the farmer to the freight company to the regulator, all the way to that big international buyer. The real value for them is that verified global market access, the direct sales, and, much better real-time data on their orders.
That all sounds great in theory, but these are physical goods. What about the nightmare of actually moving them? Logistics can be the biggest bottleneck, especially for these smaller businesses.
Oh, it's a huge piece of the puzzle, and logistical optimization is vital. So right now, the platform is partnered with big air freight names you'd recognize, like DHL and FedEx.
For speed?
Exactly, for rapid movement of high-value or perishable stuff. But the sources do say they're working hard to bring sea freight and other air cargo providers on board.
And why is that so important?
It's all about cost and scale. Air freight is fast, but it can be incredibly expensive for, really big orders.
Hmm.
If they can integrate sea freight, they can slash those shipping costs for the high volume buyers.
Which makes the whole platform way more competitive.
Exactly. So if we take this whole verification and trust system and apply it to a really critical immediate issue, you start to see its real power. Let's talk about food safety.
Which affects everyone.
It impacts every single one of us. And the need for this kind of verification is, well, it's intensely real.
It might seem like a jump, from a financial escrow system to the messy reality of food fraud, but it's the same core problem, isn't it?
It is a total lack of trust and verifiable information in the supply chain. And the consequences here are a lot more serious than just losing money on a deal.
Right.
The sources we looked at point to audits from bodies like ASA, the Portuguese Authority for Economic and Food Safety, and they showed just how bad food fraud can get when there are no controls.
So what did they find? What were some of the, the really alarming examples that show why this kind of traceability is so needed?
Well, the findings were specific and, frankly, pretty concerning. For instance, they found uninspected meat getting into the supply chain from clandestine slaughterhouses.
Wow, okay. A huge public health risk.
A massive one. And then there was widespread mislabeling and adulteration of high-value products. Olive oil was a big one.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, where really low-quality, cheap oils are just packaged up and sold under premium brand names. And then you had things like unverified fruit imports with no information on where they came from or their quality.
So the Palmyra Pro solution, it effectively just locks down the product's identity from the very beginning. It makes it really hard for that fraudulent stuff to even get into the system.
That's the idea. It provides that end-to-end blockchain traceability to verify the certified origins. It guarantees compliance up front and stops those uninspected goods from ever reaching market.
And what I find fascinating is that this doesn't just stop with the business-to-business buyer. It can go all the way to the person in the supermarket.
It can, which is a huge leap for transparency. For those high-risk foods, like that premium olive oil, the system can generate a QR code for the bottle.
And I can scan it with my phone.
You scan it, and you can instantly see the source, the processing steps, the quality guarantees, everything. It protects you, the buyer, but it also protects the honest producers from getting undercut by criminals.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Let's look at how this tech actually translates into real economic opportunity on the ground. We've got 3 case studies that show the reach. Let's start in West Africa.
Right, we're looking at Benin, and the focus there is on pineapples. The farmers there face 2 huge problems.
Okay.
First, a ton of their harvest is lost after it's picked just due to bad logistics and handling. And second, they have almost no access to those really lucrative markets in Europe and North America.
So what did zenGate do? How did they intervene?
They set up a formal partnership, an MOU, with a company called BioLife Tech, and the plan was to integrate their blockchain solutions right into the pineapple supply chain.
So Palmyra Pro gets deployed right there at the source.
Exactly.
How does that actually work in, a potentially remote area? Is a farmer typing this into a phone?
That's the critical question for scale, right? And the goal is to use accessible tools. So the system captures key data points, harvest dates, the geolocation of the farm, processing details, even storage conditions.
And that stream of verified data is what ensures compliance with all those strict international standards.
That's the key. That compliance is what opens the door to the premium markets.
And the sources really stressed this wasn't just them dropping off some tech and leaving.
Oh, absolutely not. The partnership included very specific, tailored workshops for the local farmers and the BioLife Tech staff.
What kind of training?
All about how to actually use the data to make their supply chain better, how to reduce waste with smarter logistics, and, crucially, how to navigate the complex world of international markets. It's about building knowledge for the long term.
Okay, let's pivot from Africa to Europe. The sources mention a 2-year pilot program in Rhodes, Greece. What's the focus there?
This one is with the municipality of Rhodes itself, and they're targeting those amazing local Mediterranean products, think olive oil, honey, wine.
And given what we just said about olive oil fraud, being able to guarantee where it came from is a massive selling point.
It's a huge competitive advantage.
So for these Greek producers, what's the biggest barrier to getting their product into, say, the US or Canada? It's not just finding a buyer, it's all the paperwork, right?
You hit the nail on the head. It's the bureaucracy. The biggest hurdle is getting those essential export certifications.
Like FDA approval.
Exactly, FDA approval for the U.S. market or complying with the complex EU distance trading regulations. The Palmyra platform actually helps them organize and present all this verifiable data they need to get those certifications. It just streamlines the whole process.
Giving them direct access to all these major regions.
US, Canada, the EU, Australia, Asia, yeah.
All right, final case study. Let's jump over to Asia. Sri Lanka and the famous centuries-old commodity of Ceylon tea.
With tea, the platform is intensely focused on equity. It's about connecting the huge number of Sri Lankan tea producers, and many of them are tiny, family-owned plantations, directly with global buyers.
Cutting out the middlemen.
Cutting out layers of brokers. And that direct market access means the producers actually get fair pay for their work.
How deep does the traceability go with the tea?
They call it traceability from leaf to cup.
Leaf to cup.
Which means a buyer can literally follow the journey of the tea leaves from the exact date and location of the harvest all the way through processing and shipping. It builds incredible trust, but it also lets these producers prove their claims about sustainable or eco-friendly farming.
And that lets them get a better price.
A premium price for a verified, high-quality product. Now, if we connect all this back to the bigger picture, you can see the platform's use isn't just for agriculture. The same technology is becoming really critical for high-stakes strategic resources.
And that brings in huge geopolitical and environmental issues.
For sure.
So we're moving from food safety into the global race for energy. We're talking about lithium.
Exactly. We're looking at Latin America's lithium triangle. That's Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia.
Right.
Together, they hold something like 2/3 of the world's lithium reserves. Lithium is the white gold, right? It is absolutely essential for EVs, for large-scale energy storage. Demand is just going to explode.
But the sources are really clear on this. That economic boom comes at a pretty severe environmental cost.
The stakes are monumental. The sources highlight that the traditional way of extracting lithium is incredibly water-intensive.
How much water are we talking about?
To get 1 ton of lithium, it can take up to 500,000 gallons of water.
Wow.
And this is happening in extremely dry places like Chile's Atacama Desert, which is already facing massive water shortages. It's threatening these very fragile ecosystems.
And it's not just the environment. There are also these big social challenges, right, around land rights for local communities, fair profit sharing.
Absolutely. So a country like Chile's has to figure out how to balance this huge economic opportunity with long-term environmental and social responsibility.
And this is where a system like Palmyra comes into play for strategic resources.
Precisely. The blockchain tech gives them a way to transparently track the lithium extraction process itself.
So you can verify how it was mined.
You can verify that newer, more sustainable practices, like something called direct lithium extraction, or DLE, are actually being followed and documented.
Okay, let's pause on DLE for a second. What is that, and why is tracking it so important?
So DLE is basically a more modern, much less water-intensive way to get lithium compared to the old method of using these giant evaporation ponds. It promises something like a 90% reduction in water use.
Which is huge.
It's a game changer. But the problem is proving it. Proving that a mining operation is actually using DLE and meeting its sustainability promises.
So the blockchain provides that unchangeable record.
It provides the immutable record. It verifies that the lithium coming out of that mine meets the green criteria, making it way more marketable to environmentally conscious buyers.
So the tech really acts as a kind of check and balance. It gives these nations the tools to enforce their own environmental laws and prove their sustainability to the world.
Exactly. It helps ensure that the economic benefits of this critical resource don't come at the irreversible expense of the local environment or its people. Sustainability becomes a verifiable fact, not just a marketing claim.
So what does this all mean when we put it together? We've traced this thread from small pineapple farms in Benin to high-value tea plantations in Sri Lanka, and then all the way to these vast strategic lithium reserves in a desert.
Pretty wide scope.
Very wide scope. But in every single case, the Palmyra Platform is serving that same core mission: cutting waste, boosting profit for these MSMEs by getting rid of barriers, and forcing verifiable transparency across these global supply chains.
It's the tech answer to that digital divide we talked about at the start. It gives them direct sales channels, built-in traceability, secure escrow wall in one package that was just completely inaccessible to these businesses before.
So it's more than just a marketplace.
Oh yeah. What we're seeing here is zenGate's bigger ambition. They're building tools that could be used not just by businesses, but by governments, by regulators, to create entirely new, verifiable market frameworks.
And that ability to certify and monetize a physical thing, that's a huge disruptive leap. The platform uses what they call real-world asset, or RWA tokenization,
Not WA.
to boost transparency and efficiency. So, if this technology can take a physical commodity, a crate of pineapples, a bottle of olive oil, a ton of sustainably mined lithium, and make it fully traceable, digitally certified, and easy to trade, I mean, how quickly will this model just completely transform traditional banking and financing for commodity trade? It could redefine who gets access to capital globally. That's something you really need to be mulling over.
A verifiable digital asset completely changes the landscape for collateral overnight.
It really does. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.